It's I'm Priyanka and I'm back again with my question answer of chapter The Seven Ages of Man. What does a soldier wish to get? Honor. In which age does a man become childish again? The sixth stage. Answer in 15 to 20 words. What is the similarity between a bubble and a soldier reputation? The reputation of a soldier of a life and the life of a bubble both are momentary. How does a justice and judge play his part in his life? The judge or justice consider all the people equal and provide them right judgment and right to live free life in this world. How does a man behave in old age? A man behave polite and remain busy in thinking about his youth. He wear loose pantaloons and slippers and spectacles on his nose. How are all the men and women merely players? All the men and women have to play various roles in their life, which is like a stage in this world. Figure the speeches in the following table containing the lines, phrases of the poem. Metaphor, smile, and alliteration. Phrases and line of the poem. All the world a stage, it's a metaphor. All the men and women are merely prayers, it's metaphor. Seeking the bubble reputation, simile. Sighing, shy like a furnace, simile. Creeping like a snail, simile. Shrunk, shank, alliteration. Plays his part, metaphor. Answer in 30 to 40 words. Why does a poet call all the world a stage? The poet call all the world a stage because every person has to perform various role in his lifetime. The man takes birth as an infant, then after a schoolboy and a lover, just as at last becomes old and passes away. What are the seven ages of man? The first stage is infant, second is a schoolboy, and then becomes a lover, and the fourth stage is a soldier, and then a justice in the fifth, and sixth is an old age, and seventh is death. Why does the poet compare the lovers sighing to a furnace? The poet compares the sighing of a lover with a furnace because there's equal heat in the heart and emotions of love like a furnace of lover, and his heart burns in the warmth of love. Why does the poet call the ballad woeful? The poet calls the ballad woeful because there is a sense of separation of the beloved presence, and the lover always feel her absence and desire her company all the time. It makes him restless and encouraged to live with her. Answer in 150 words. What write a summary of the poem? In this poem, the poet discuss about the life of human being, which has been classified in seven parts. In the beginning, the poet uses metaphor and presents his whole world in form of a stage on which every person has to perform his role of every stages and proceed further. The poet clears that a man take birth and becomes schoolboy, and after lover and further a soldier and a justice, then becomes old and passes away. But during his long life, he does not spare a single moment to remember his creator and does not try to do different in order to become permanent in this mortal world. In order to achieve immortality in this mortal world, at last the poet likes to make the people aware of his world, to do something different, to be remembered everlasting after their death. Explained with reference to context, the following extract of the poem. All the world is stage, and all the men and women merely praise. Reference. The above line has been taken from the poem The Seven Ages of Man. It has been composed by the poet William Shakespeare, who was born in 1564 and passed away in 1616. Contest. In the stanza, the poet represents the whole world in form of stage and introduces the human being as player and make the life of men prominent. Explanation. The poet uses perfect metaphor and presents this world as a stage and the men as a player who has to perform their roles in order to prove the life of the men important and play every role successfully in their lifetime. He says that the man is only a performer in this world. He has to leave his place sooner or later, but definitely and leave his place blank for others to use perform their part. And then the lover, sighing like a furnace, with a woeful ballad made to his mistress' eyebrows. Reference. These lines have been taken from the poem The Seven Ages of Man, which have been composed by the poet William Shakespeare. He was born in 1564 and passed away in 1616. Contest. In this line, the poet expressed the importance of life in life of human being. Love makes a man liable to lead a successful life in this mortal world. Explanation. In these lines, the poet discusses about the age of love in his life of human being. The poet says that after a schoolboy and the man becomes a lover, and he spends the most of his time to remember his beloved. He leaves his eye like a furnace. He means to say that his heart filled with heart heat of love, and he sings sorrowful song due to the separation of his beloved, and make a picture of his eyebrow of his beloved, which shows his great affection for his mistress. Answer in 60 to 80 words. Why does the poet present this world as a stage? The poet presents this world as a stage because he would like to clear that a man is not permanent in this world, so that he should not become materialistic and enjoy his short life in association of nature, worship his maker, and love the creation of God to become his favorite. Describe the first stage of man. In the first stage of man, as a man takes a birth in an infant and does not know anyone, he spends most of his time in the arms of his nurse and remains crying and vomiting without having any sense of his family members, and live free life without any sorrow of attachment. Explain the lifestyle of a man as a schoolboy. The man lives a free life as a schoolboy. There is a brightness of the sun on his face. He carries a bag on his back and goes to school against his will. His eyes are full of new ideas, different act and experience of world. He does not bother about anything and remains happy. What does a man do during his youth? A man plays various roles in his youth. Sometimes he becomes a soldier and takes an oath to fight for others. He desires to get honor from others. He also grow a beard on his face, roam in his society like a leopard without fear, and he is ready to take any risk. What does the poet call the old age as a second childhood? The poet calls the old age as a second childhood because during this age a man became like a child without teeth, without taste, and does not remember anything. He speaks in absurd language like a child due to the absence of teeth. He cannot pronounce the word properly. The air comes out through his mouth like a whistle. Which is the best stage of life? Youth is the best stage of life of a man because during the age he lives is a free and fearless life. He lives his life for others and ready to fight for rights of other as a soldier. He takes risk and tries to get honor from others from his work. He roams like a leopard freely. He grows beard on his face and enjoy the freedom of the life and try to touch new targets of his life. He has a sense of sacrifice for others. What message does the poet deliver to the reader on behalf of the poem, The Seven Ages of Man? The poet says the world is a stage and a man is a performer of a stage. The poet expresses his views on seven ages of man by means of his role of the stage. It is a natural process which is governed by God. God is our creator and he is the supreme power of all human beings. The poet insists us to play our role successfully and patiently. We should be genuine in playing all the roles. These roles reminded our duties towards the mankind. Thank you.